Hello and welcome to today's lesson. We are going to talk about some useful and I think common idioms that you will definitely be able to use in 2024. And this is going to be a quiz lesson, so I want you to participate. I want you to write your answers in the chat or the comments. Let me know that you're actively trying to learn and understand these idioms. And if you are someone who enjoys building your vocabulary, please subscribe, turn on notifications. That way I can become your teacher. My name is Wes, the channel Interactive English. It's all about trying to help you reach your fluency goals. And today I want to improve mostly your speaking fluency when it comes to using some of these idioms, but also your listening comprehension, because these are phrases that you will hear from time to time. So if you would like to get access to these notes right here, check out the link down below in the description. Join my email community. If you are already a part of it, then check your inbox. I've already sent them to you, but it's a good way to review and just have these idioms on hand. So let's begin with our first question, and we're going to start out with an activity, complete the idiom. So I'm giving you part of the idiom, I'm giving you the meaning right here, and what is the idiom that we're talking about? To off, some, There are two words missing, and what this means is to do or say something that helps you get rid of, strong feelings or just some pent-up energy. So often if you are frustrated, you're angry, you may do some activity, I think mostly like a physical activity, exercise, and you just want to off some. What do you think? Let me know in the chat, in the comments. I always love it when you participate in these lessons. So in this case, what we're talking about is the following right here. To blow off some steam. You are doing something, or I guess it could be, again, you're saying something just to get rid of that energy. Most of the time it's something negative, and you have this pent up negative energy. You want to release it. You want to blow off some steam. Excellent. You could say, I see in the chat, like let off some steam. I think that also works. I feel like in this context, it's probably a little more common to say you're trying to blow off some steam, or you would like to blow off some steam. But those are some great answers. Excellent. Takaya, Alina, Eva, perfect. The next one. Let's keep moving on. Oh, just to give you some examples as to how this is used in context, I put some news headlines up there for you. So I'll just read these because I know it's a little small. It says, thinking of hitting the gym to blow off some steam. An angry workout is a bad idea, research says. So again, if sometimes somebody's angry, they may want to blow off some steam. The next one, drop the vape. There are other ways to blow off some steam, or to blow off steam. And then finally at the bottom, looking glass, every once in a while, a guy has to blow off some steam. Again, you're just getting ready, releasing that energy, those strong feelings. Then we have this one. And for those of you who have been in my speaking course, some of this is review. We've talked about these expressions, these phrases before. This one, been through and I'll get to a second, but the meaning of it is through many difficult times over a long period. And that is the key word, over a long period. So you're going to use this with been. That's why I put it in parentheses right there. And you would say that two people been through and. How would you complete this idiom, this expression? And I'm sure you can relate to this. I think this is relevant, not just this year, but any year when you have people, these long relationships, and you can say, well done, excellent. We've been through thick and thin. Nice. Faravis, Takayo, Annabelle, good to see you. Angela, Miranda, perfect. All right, I'll try to give some shout outs as we go through this. But if you're saying that you would talk about somebody that you have a long relationship with, your spouse, maybe a colleague, a family member, and you could say, oh, of course, my wife and I, we've been through thick and thin. We've had many good times, we've had difficult times, we've been through thick and thin. And really, this is often used as a standalone statement, talking about two or more people have been through thick and thin. So to give you a little more, I thought this was a fun little picture that I found online, showing these two cats when they're just young kittens, and then when they get older. But these would be friends that have been through thick and thin, the good times and the bad times. Cute little image. Then we have this idiom right here: to be in the same what? There's one word missing. If you are an avid watcher of my video lessons and you've seen some of the idiom lessons before, again, some of these are review. It's always good to get a little bit of review. This idiom means to be in the same unpleasant situation as another person. That you and I, we are in the same. And once again, I put the verb to be in parentheses, because you're often going to use this with the verb to be. And the answer, the word that we're looking for, is to be in the same boat. You are both in some difficult or unpleasant situation. So yeah, I know how you feel. We're in the same boat. And I feel like anytime this year, if you are also experiencing an unpleasant situation that somebody's telling you about, this is what you could say. Yeah, I know how you feel. We're in the same boat. Great job. Miranda, Mohammed, Lolly, excellent. Angela, well done. Here's the next one. And again, there's just one word missing. The word. This is an idiom that you would use when you're trying to tell someone that just keep something secret. Often you would say the secret, or you would tell someone the secret, and then you're going to use this idiom really just as a reminder that they should keep quiet. Don't tell anyone else the word. And I like this idiom. It's one that I feel like I end up using from time to time. It's a bit more playful. If you're sharing some secret information, you're saying, hey, so don't tell anybody the word. And I was kind of curious, because I haven't taught this idiom before, how many people would recognize it. But if you watch movies or TV shows, this is certainly one that you will hear. The word that's missing is mums. Mum's the word. I see some people said like mum, Julia, Ava. To be a little more specific, you keep it with that apostrophe S. Mum's the word. Mum's the word. So I tell you a secret, and if I follow that with, hey, mum's the word, I'm letting you know, don't tell anybody, this is a secret. Mum's the word. All right, now I am giving you a sentence, and I'm just, the idiom is the blank right there. And I want you to think about what idiom would fit this context and complete the sentence. And again, I'm giving you the meaning down here. And I think this one is especially important for 2024 and any year beyond. You should take what I say with a You can look at the picture in the background. That's a little bit of a hint, but this means to not completely believe something that you are told because you think it may unlikely be true, or it's not likely to be true. So again, whether you're listening to me or anybody else online, I think this is a good habit to get into. You want to doubt the things that you hear. You want to check and make sure that the information is true. And I would even tell you, yeah, you should take what I say with a and what's the idiom? I think this is a very common one. And the answer, I would say a grain of salt. Take what I say with a grain of salt. Many of you guys rock that one. Nice. HK, Tom, Angela, Annabelle, Takayao. So this is the idiom to take something with a grain of salt. Some news or information you hear, you don't necessarily just want to believe everything that you see online, especially if you're on social media. And I gave you another example down there. Don't believe everything you read on social media. You should take it with a massive grain of salt. And you hear me emphasize that word massive because that is a collocation with this idiom. If you want to emphasize that, okay, you should certainly question what it is that you hear or read, take it with a massive grain of salt. Now, one thing I want to point out that some of you are probably wondering, like, wait a second, I saw many people took pinch of salt. Like, yes, Lolly, you're correct. In British English, that is the idiom. So whether you said grain of salt or pinch of salt, both of them are correct. But just so you know, if you're talking about, if you're in the US, you could say, hey, I think, yeah, take it with a grain of salt. If you're traveling in the UK, then say, well, I think you should take it with a pinch of salt. Both of them have the same meaning. It's just a slight little difference between American English and British English. Of course, I gave you the answer, take something with a grain of salt, because I am from the United States. But whether you said grain of salt, pinch of salt, both of them are correct. And I saw many, many great answers there. How about this one? We are traveling to NYC, New York City for New Year's Eve. We really for our hotel room. The meaning of this idiom is to pay too much money for something. And really, you're paying more than the fair amount, or whatever you think is fair. And you could say you for this thing. This is an idiom that you're often going to follow with that preposition for. You for something. You're paying too much, more than the fair amount. And think about the context. You go to New York City, New Year's Eve. The prices are going to go up. The prices for those hotel rooms, they're going to go up a lot. And you're going to pay a lot more for the fair price. And that is part of the idiom, to pay for something. So the answer is to pay through the nose. In this case, I'm talking about, actually, wait, I think I made a little slight mistake. You probably can see that there with the verb tenses. I should have said we traveled to New York City for New Year's, kept it in the past tense. We paid through the nose for our hotel room. Or in this case, we are traveling. That's like the future continuous. We will pay through the nose for our hotel room. Apologize for that. If you saw it, that's awesome. Great. But just keep in mind, to pay through the nose for something, it means that you're paying more than the fair amount. To give you another example that I think you can relate to, and I said it's relevant to this year in particular because I could use it in this sentence. Because of inflation, we have been paying through the nose for everyday items. It's more than the fair amount. You're paying through the nose. And I know that I think in many countries, places, inflation, it's starting to go down, which is great. But in general, I think a lot of people feel that they've been paying through the nose for some everyday items. So it's a great way to emphasize that you're paying more than the fair amount. It's just too much. How about this one? And if those of you who have been in my speaking course, I think this is good review. Good review. I should have seen this coming. But you know what they say. And I don't know if I'm giving you enough information there with that context. But it refers to looking back at a situation in the past, and you just have a clearer understanding of, well, how things could have been different. And I'm using it, that first sentence, I should have seen this coming, using that modal of lost opportunity to say that you should have been aware that this was going to happen. And it's like you can reflect back and think about something that's already happened, and you say, well, you know what they say, And you're looking back at this situation. I put those glasses there to give you a little bit of a hint, but this is an idiom, an expression that may be new. And if it's new for you, that's great. So you could use this if someone's expressing regret and you want to tell them, of course, the way you can look back and you see what you should have done or what you should have changed, and you could say hindsight is 2020. So 2020, I put those eyeglasses there, refers to your vision. And I know in the US, I don't know how it is in other countries. You can let me know. But if you go to the the eye doctor, the optometrist, and you get an eye exam and they say you have 20/20 vision, it means that you have perfect vision and you can see things clearly. Hindsight is talking about reflecting on the past. So it pretty much means what it says. When you think about the past and things that have already happened, you have a very clear understanding of, how you could have made the situation better or what you should have done. And it's like, of course, yeah, hindsight is 20/20. How did I not see this? So if this one is new, that's good. Again, I feel like there are many times we express regret throughout the year, and that's why I said it's relevant for this year, even beyond. And if you want to empathize with someone and say, oh, yeah, I know what you mean, like I feel the same way, but hindsight is 20/20, or hindsight is always 20/20. You could add that adverb of frequency in there as well. Here's another example. I should never have trusted him. There were many warning signs. Okay, again, I'm expressing regret, and somebody else could say, I know, but hindsight is always 20/20. All right, you can reflect back and you really know what you should have done in that situation. Here is the next one. I've not heard his name before. It doesn't what? What is the missing idiom? And basically it means the same as to sound familiar. And you could use that meaning to complete the sentence. I have not heard his name before. It doesn't sound familiar. But instead of saying sound familiar, I can use this idiom instead. I was actually going to give a picture that would be a hint, but I think that would just give it away if I were to, well, I don't want to give it away now, even though I feel like you guys got it. So the answer, it doesn't ring a bell. Great job, Lolly, Joanne, HK, perfect, Ava. So if something rings a bell, it just means it sounds familiar. A lot of times, the one thing I want to point out is that you may hear people use this with the negative to say that something does not sound familiar and say, oh, it doesn't, that doesn't ring a bell, right? It doesn't sound familiar. That doesn't ring a bell. So keep that in mind. That doesn't mean you'll always use it like that, but often you end up using it with the negative. Something doesn't ring a bell. So the other thing that I want to point out, you can see that question, like I'm asking this, like, hey, does her name ring a bell? You may use this when talking about not just a person's name, but just the name of anything. It could be the name of a restaurant. And like, oh yeah, that doesn't ring a bell. I don't remember the name. So here are some other examples using this in context, some news headlines, and that first one, names that ring a bell. Okay, names that sound familiar. Or Robert Dunlap. Does the name ring a bell? He invented something that you probably rode on this morning, and they're referring to Dunlop, the tires. I don't know, I guess it's still a well-known brand of tires. And in that case, they're like, oh, does it ring a bell? And then finally down here, again, I mentioned using it in the negative. If somebody's asking you if you know of something and you're not really familiar with the name, you could say, well, yeah, it doesn't ring a bell. It just doesn't ring a bell. Good idiom. Now I want to challenge you with, I'm giving you a picture that hopefully you can use to guess the idiom. And I'm giving you a little bit of a hint. I'm not giving you the entire meaning, just one word that's a hint. So in this case, use this picture. What idiom do you think I'm talking about? And your hint is the word unpleasant. And I really think this picture is exactly what the idiom says, and it's one that you're going to come across in movies, TV shows, even if you feel like you don't, these idioms don't come up when you're having a conversation. I think they always help your listening comprehension because you will come across them from time to time. And I think you guys, yeah, maybe this was a little too easy. I think it's going to get a little more challenging. Bite the bullet. Well done, Lali, Annabelle, Muhammad, Julia. Nice. It means to force yourself to do something unpleasant or difficult. Something's unpleasant, and you say, "Oh, okay, I got to do it. I got to bite the bullet." And here's an example sentence for you. I know you hate going to the dentist, but if your tooth hurts, I think you need to bite the bullet and get it over with. So again, you're talking about a situation that's unpleasant, and you say, or somebody might say, who's going to do this unpleasant thing? We need a volunteer. Okay, I'll do it. I'll bite the bullet. So again, I think this happens in our everyday lives. We have to do some things that may be unpleasant, and we got to bite the bullet. Here's the next one. I said it's going to get a little more difficult. I actually think this one might be even easier. Maybe these pictures are too spot on. So you can see what's happening there. And the hint that I'm giving you is the word trouble. So yeah, I don't want to it away. What do you think is the idiom? Trouble. That is the key word. And I'll go ahead and tell you, it's not break the ice. Because again, an icebreaker, if we use it as a noun, or to break the ice, is to kind of, again, feel more comfortable in a situation, learn about other people, and you're going to break the ice. So it's not really related to the word trouble. But yeah, I see what answer. Okay, I'll let you know. The answer is to be on thin ice. You are doing something that is dangerous, it involves risk, and you're on thin ice. So well done, Robbie, Julia, Faraborj. Sorry if I mispronounce names. Mohammed. You could tell somebody, yeah, you're walking on thin ice. That's perfectly fine. Or just use it with the verb to be. Sometimes you may, well, I'll give you the example. I forgot to buy her a birthday present, so right now I'm on thin ice, that I'm in a dangerous or risky position. A lot of times you might use this idiom with your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, if one person is upset with the other. And just say, hey, look, you're on thin ice right now, that you're about to get into a lot of trouble if you keep talking. And something that maybe my wife would say to me if I'm causing problems or I'm talking and I probably should shut up. She might say, look, okay, hey, you're on thin ice. So good idiom to know. How about this one? This, I think, is a little more, well, it's a little trickier. But again, use that picture, look at what's going on. The hint that I'll give you, the word trends. And think about what is happening in this picture. Again, I think the picture really accurately sums up what the idiom is. And you would end up using this, well, I'll go ahead and tell you, when talking about trends. And you're going to follow a trend. You're going to what? The answer, well done, Miranda Ava, to jump on the bandwagon. So this means to start doing something because it is fashionable, it's popular, it's profitable, and you're going to jump on the bandwagon. Think about trends. People follow trends, and it's, oh, you see somebody else doing it, like, oh, I'm going to start doing the same thing. I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. You may also hear this when people talk about sports teams. That's the example that I'm giving you right here. Once the Yankees, the baseball team in New York, once the Yankees started winning, many people jumped on the bandwagon. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, that's my favorite team as well. And people jump on the bandwagon. And then we have this idiom right here. It has to do with punishment. And look at the picture, what's going on, and hopefully you can put this one together. This is one that I've talked about in my course, as well as I'm pretty sure I've done a video lesson with referring to this idiom, maybe even more than once. Maybe it goes to show you that maybe I just like using this idiom. But once again, it's always good to get review, and if it's new, that's perfect. So look at the picture, what's happening, and I think you can kind of start to put it together. So I said we're talking about punishment, and in this case, this person, you can see right now here, they are facing the music. That is the idiom, to face the music. Great job, Eva, Rabi, Lali, Miranda, Angela, well done. To accept responsibility for something you have done. And really, it's a mistake. You made a mistake. You have to accept responsibility for this mistake, even if it means you're going to get punished and you have to face the music. So that's how I'm relating it to punishment. It doesn't always mean you're going to get punished, but really it's about accepting responsibility. And you tell someone, okay, yeah, I have to face the music. All right, I made a mistake. I got to face the music. Or maybe you tell this to someone else. Look, it's better to confess and then face the music. If there's going to be punishment or no punishment, either way, but you may need to face the music. I'm sure that this is an idiom that you will relate to this year, because I feel like everybody can associate with this, that we all make mistakes, and maybe we don't want to accept responsibility, but ultimately we have to face the music. So here are the idioms, and if I wanted to run through, give you a little quick review, if you want to continue building your vocabulary and just keep learning new things, feel free, watch another video lesson. It's a great way to blow off some steam. If you have some pent-up energy, blow off some steam, watch another lesson, because I feel like many of you want to build your vocabulary, and it's difficult. It takes time. So in that regard, many of you are in the same boat when it comes to learning new words and phrases. Because the more you come across these idioms, whether it's in one of these lessons or watching a TV show or movie, you're going to think, oh, that phrase, I remember it. That rings a bell, and I know what that means. And of course, I hope that you continue watching other lessons and that you continue following, subscribe to the channel, and just jump on the interactive English bandwagon. It's not going to cost you anything. You don't have to pay through the nose for these lessons. They're on YouTube. They put up some ads. And again, I'm just trying to give you a little bit of review using these different idioms in context. Remember, if you want to get these lesson notes, check out the link down below in the description. And if you are already a part of our email community, check your email. I have already sent them to you. But for the most part, I think you all did a great job identifying these different idioms. It's just, first, it comes down to comprehension. I want you to be able to understand them if you hear them. And as you become a little more comfortable, then you're going to be in a position that you can use them naturally in conversation. But, you don't have to take my word for it. Always take what I say, and everybody else, take it with a grain of salt. Okay? So thank you for joining me, Stephanie, Lali, Annabelle, Julia. It's great to see you. Takayo, Oleg. I hope that you have a wonderful day. And of course, I will be back very shortly with another lesson to help you build your vocabulary, improve your grammar, fine-tune your pronunciation. We do a little bit of everything to help you improve your English fluency. So I will see you